So yeah, this is one of the little paintings I did while I was out this morning in the cold. But it was nice actually. It was really bright and it was quite windy, so I've tried to get some of that sense of movement and kind of the air moving, the feeling of things not staying kind of static, and just get that energy into the painting while I'm working. So it's that sort of stuff that comes across which I'm most interested in, really. Yeah, I'm not that bothered about trying to get things to look like, the kind of traditional idea of a picture of a place, where, there's a gate here and a tree there and a hill here. And, it's more about trying to get the sense of movement, the energy, the space, wind, the air, trying to get all that stuff in there, really. And hopefully that comes across in the finished pieces of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop it down a little bit and try and get it to fit inside this sketchbook. I've got one that's got quite a few small paintings and drawings in it already. Yeah, so I always try and do this with my work, do something with it when it gets back to the studio, even if it doesn't necessarily, if it's not necessarily something that's going to end up being framed or anything like that. It's good to keep this stuff, and I think keeping it in a book is really useful because if they're just loose pieces of paper lying around in the studio, chances are, you're either going to get sick of them and throw them away, or, they get ruined. But this way, you get to keep them, they're kind of mounted, you can kind of see what you've got. I just find it really useful to have these kind of books, I've got loads of these books, to refer to, when I'm doing my studio work. So I think, I don't know how this is going to come out. It's okay, it's got some, okay bits in it. Well, I'll just see how it goes. I think there's a certain amount of energy in there. So I'll just work it down and see where it goes. It's on slightly thicker paper than I normally use. I've used a bit of watercolour paper with some primer on it. So I don't know how it's going to tear so well, so I'll find out. I think the first thing I'm going to do is try and tighten up this edge over this side, and because I don't like the way that it sort of tapers off to the edge, so I'm going to take this piece off here. I'm just trying to tighten up the composition. These blobs where it's got squashed against the palette on the way home, I suspect I'll be able to do something with those in terms of some collage, either if it's a piece that's going to be torn off this piece of work, or whether it might be a piece from something else. So, but I'll be able to work with that somehow. So yeah, I quite like that up to there. It's quite distracting. So let's just stick that on. There's a piece in here which I quite like, where I've put the paint on and then kind of scrape back through to the primer underneath. And that's got some nice marks in it. So I'm going to try and hang on to that bit, and I like this piece of light paint that I've kind of put on with my thumb, so that's got quite a nice mark to it as well. So really that's kind of becoming the edge of the painting, and at this point I'm sort of trying to get it to force it to sort of fit in my sketchbook, I think, because it doesn't need to be any bigger than this, so because it's only on a small piece of paper to begin with. So I think I might score that slightly. Because it being watercolour paper, it's not tearing quite as easily as my normal paper, so I'll just score it a little bit and put it like that. Yeah, that's okay. I'll just tear those bits off. Yeah, so I think as a starting point, I'm going to probably stick that down into my book, so that I can see what I've got, and then I'll start to work with it with a collage. So now that's kind of stuck down, what I want to do is just kind of tighten up some of the bits that aren't working so well. This is quite good fun. Some of this you can really start to work with it. Obviously I want to do something with the this piece up here where I've got these accidental splodges of paint, but this bottom piece is looking a little bit uninteresting, but I do quite like all this through here. In fact, the whole central area I quite like, so let's have a go and see what I can find. This is really just some offcuts of some other pieces that I was fiddling around with while I was outside. I didn't really go anywhere as a painting, so I think, you know, sometimes it can be really useful to just you know, chuck some paint around while you're out, without really, you know, worrying too much about, you know, what it's going to be, because I had a feeling I like these kind of scratchy marks, and obviously it's the same. It was the same paint off my palette. I was kind of just sort of using up the paint on the palette, really. And so I think I had this idea that I'd make, you know, use up some of this bluey grey that I was using in the sort of sky area, I suppose, and then kind of scratching around with it. So I was just kind of doing this fairly randomly while I was outside, not really trying to make anything with it, just thinking it might be handy later on. So I think it might be. Something like that would be quite nice. And the other good thing about doing this kind of collage work is that it gives me a chance to really, you know, be quite playful, I suppose, with the paintings, and not just think of you know, the work that I do outside as that's the finished article. You know, that's the finished thing. That whatever I do outside, that's it. It's either good or it isn't. I sort of treat all my painting that I do on location as a beginning. You know, I'm treating that as the gathering material, gathering ideas, and just spending time outside and really looking and using the painting as a way of looking. I think I'm going to stick that bit down. Stuck some glue on the back of this, so I'm going to put that where it was before. I actually thought it was looking pretty good, so just push that down, make sure it's really well and stuck. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, so, you know, just using all that the painting process while I'm outdoors is really as a way of looking and soaking in information and getting ideas, getting paint that I can work with back at the studio. Yeah, it's just this little bit down the bottom here that I'm not particularly happy with. I actually really like all of this now. Just wondering if I should have been a bit more aggressive with my original cropping, whether it actually needs any of that down there at all. But well, this is the nice thing about working on paper, is that you can easily adjust it. You know, you can add bits to it, you can take bits away. So yeah, you know, actually, I mean, I like the squarish kind of format. I'm sure I can find something that I was doing that will I just want something bold really down the bottom there. I'm not keen on the way it kind of just sort of fizzles out towards the bottom of the painting. So I just want something that's got a bit of interest in it, that's a little bit more energetic than this empty space here. I mean, I like all this here, but I'm not sure that's going to work. It's not really working, that bit. What else did I do while I was out? This is usually where I get a comment on the video that will say something like, "Oh, it was good at 3 minutes and 25 seconds, and you ruined it." So, oh, that's losing my little blobs of green. too sure about that. Maybe I quite like this colour, that's the thing. I'm liking this